Already got a blazed Marvel post. The adpocalypse is closer than we think, so here's your daily PSA. Don't interact with corporate Tumblr accounts. Yes, even to dunk on them. I don't care if you have the sickest burn of the century lined up, don't even give them the time of day. The eventual and inevitable fall of Twitter marks a change in the advertising industry, and Tumblr is unclaimed territory. If we want Tumblr to remain the social media bastion it has become, it needs to remain as unappealing to corporations as possible. Do not engage. In a marketing strategist's eyes, any kind of attention is good attention. Don't silence brand them. Don't kung pao penis them. Don't send them hate anons. Don't hate follow them. Corporate Tumblrs are not a single entity, and they will not be harassed off this site. We only have a shot at repelling them because of Tumblr's lack of an algorithm. So turn off recommended posts on your dashboard, put it in chronological order, and install an ad blocker. If you don't seek out these blazed posts and actively ignore them when they happen upon you, the corporations will starve. In this case, the best kind of protest is a silent one. Just saying, Tumblr loses several millions of dollars per month. It has been losing millions of dollars per month for years. We are not even close of changing that and making the site profitable yet. And if that doesn't change, you may not believe it, but Tumblr will close. Back in 2019, if Automatic hadn't bought it, I'm pretty convinced Verizon would have closed before the end of the year. This time, once Automatic says, we can't keep losing millions per month on this, I don't think there will be anyone else willing to buy this hell site, even for a single dollar. Personally, I would prefer Tumblr to be paid by its own users and not being reliant on advertising. I work here. I could have almost everything for free, but I pay my own blazed posts and crab gifts because of this. But we are far from getting enough income from people subscribing, blazing, or buying gifts. Far. And we are not talking about Facebook-like greed here. Tumblr wants to squeeze us to make even more money. We are talking about Automatic keeping Tumblr alive for 3 years already, losing millions, and even if doing it costs a significant percentage of the income of the company. And no company would let something like that happen forever. So if you like Tumblr, if you enjoy this boiling cauldron of feral goblins, boycott advertisement if you want, but then toss a coin to your Tumblr each month. And it's okay if you can't, but then please, let people, or companies, blaze their posts in peace. If they bother you so much, just install an ad blocker. But if you are actively trying to make advertisers to flee Tumblr, or bullying people who blaze posts, you are actively working towards the closing of this site. So why don't you just move your shit to TikTok or wherever and stop trying to ruin this place for the rest of us? Oh, I have looked through the notes and holy fuck, how do some people even function in the outside world? There are several variations of, we have to keep this site unprofitable, and holy shit, Christ on a steak, forgive my French, but me cago en la puta hostia como se puede ser tan corto. I am very sorry for my Spanish, I don't know what I'm saying. If anyone can help me in the comments how to pronounce this properly or what it translates to, I would be grateful, but yeah, sorry. That is not French, I'm pretty sure that is Spanish, but I don't know. Please teach me. Repeat with me. You don't keep any site unprofitable, because if it's unprofitable, you don't get to keep it for long. Full stop. Do you know why Tumblr has stayed around for so long while being unprofitable? Because it had been run by 4 different companies in the last 10 years. So each one of those companies tried to make it profitable for 2-3 years and failed. And at that point, they just sold it to someone else to try. The last time, Verizon sold it to Automatic for the business equivalent of a jar of peanut butter and a half-full cola bottle, because they were going to close it anyway, so better to get that than nothing. And you know why Automatic could get it for cheap? Because no one else offered anything. Verizon announced very publicly they were trying to sell it, and they got one offer. Because purchasing Tumblr means you are purchasing a thing that puts you several million in debt per month. So can you picture, can you imagine what it will happen if the current owners decide that they can't keep having this thing that costs them so much money per month to maintain? It has been owned by Automatic for 3 years already, longer than what it was owned by Yahoo or Verizon. Can you imagine what it would happen if they decide to stop losing money on this thing? No, there won't be any new owner. And no, there won't be any fucking Tumblr anymore. I see your point. The problem is we've seen every single social media site turn into an algorithmic hellscape once they started having major advertisers like this. How can we be confident Tumblr won't do the same? How can we be confident that Tumblr won't get dollar signs in their eyes with these brands escaping Twitter and start changing the site to accommodate them? We've heard promises before from other social media platforms that things will get better once the money comes in, and we've been betrayed by algorithms and absolutely heinous business practices. Because the presence of big brands or not is not the symptom of being an algorithmic hellscape or not. Data collection is. Big brands were advertising on the internet way before the hyper-focused ads and data mining became the way of paying for internet services. If Tumblr starts asking you to fill a profile with your personal info, ask you to connect your contacts, etc., that's the symptom of a turn towards an algorithmic advertising business model. But Tumblr could have done that at any point in the last 10 years and become a money-making machine like the other major social networks. And it didn't happen, for a reason. Neither the current management nor the past one wanted to do that, and they always have been trying to make Tumblr the platform that manages to succeed while respecting its users' privacy. You know, I personally don't care about Marvel, but I have gotten blazed posts by Tor books, and I was delighted. And if you think about it, Marvel blazing its posts is exactly what we want to happen all over the internet. Being realistic, we are not going to make the site to be 100% user-funded for a long while, so ads are inevitable. That being the case, what's a better option than the brands sending their ads to everyone without any segmentation, paying for N impressions, and that's it? That was how internet ads were before Google and Facebook became the big brother and started selling our info to advertisers so they could convince your uncle to embrace fascism. And if Tumblr manages to get to profitability with a mix of old school ads and users paying for stuff, we will be demonstrating that there is another way to make a social platform sustainable without it being a facade for a user data mining gig. But if we boycott every single other way to make money here, not only would we kill Tumblr, but we will also make it the case study proving that privacy invasion and data selling is the one and only way to make money with any social network. That's an interesting read. And yeah, in an ideal world, we would have an AO3 situation with Tumblr and have it be funded by users' donations rather than ads. But AO3 is an archive, not a social media. I think their format allows that better. I don't know enough about website development and main, and either way, AO3 is a miracle on its own. As long as Tumblr keeps on not wanting our info to sell for these advertisers, I think it is better than having the website die. Don't know if I'm making sense. This is another important bit to understand. I would love Tumblr to be funded by user donations like AO3. The problem is, Tumblr is not AO3. Let's left aside the Tumblr is owned by a for-profit corporation bit. Actually, it wouldn't be the first time that Automatic just open source a project and donate it to its community to be maintained collectively. The problem is the type of platform both things are. AO3 stores only text. I'm not an AO3 user, so please someone correct me if I'm wrong, but Tumblr, well, doesn't. To give you an example of what I mean, based on its text limits, a single Tumblr post could contain the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy. Well, you would probably need to edit it to be strategic with the paragraph breaks, but character count-wise it could fit. And yet that humongous post, suck that Colors of the Sky, would take about 1/20th of the space and bandwidth that any regular GIF set post takes already. And it doesn't need transcoding of the images, so more powerful servers can do the job, nor worldwide data centers. You don't notice much if you are downloading 4 megabytes of text from the opposite side of the planet, but you will if you are downloading 50 megabytes of GIFs. Long story short, the numbers the AO3 team publishes are super impressive. Also, their yearly donations wouldn't pay for a single month of Tumblr server costs, without even thinking about paying staff. So yeah, it would be lovely to have an AO3 situation, I agree, but it's not even close to being a realistic hope. I encourage folks to read the reblog chain, because it raises some very real points that I'm going to TLDR since that is a lot of text. I still recommend reading the whole thing. 1. Tumblr is a for-profit site. At some point, if it doesn't make money, it will get shut down. 2. Since a lot of you cannot or will not pay for subscription, not saying that is not valid, just that it's not happening, the money has to come from somewhere else. Therefore, 3, but really 2A, unless you don't want Tumblr turned into an algorithmic hellscape, Leaving brands alone is the price you pay. Please note, I'm saying leave them alone. That means you do not need to engage with them, which is actually consistent with OP's post. You can just ignore them. Seriously, Xkit is life-changing. I have never seen an ad on this site unless a mutual posted a screenshot. Never. Not one. IMO, there is a big difference between a site being unprofitable and a site turning its users into the product, and the latter is much worse. Tumblr needs to remain ungovernable, but it, unfortunately, cannot remain unprofitable, because then it will die.